Dzień dobry, dobry wieczór, z tej strony Uba, Żaneta. Witam Was bardzo serdecznie na moim kanale. Dzisiaj w filmie mamy gościa specjalnego, którego możecie już kojarzyć z poprzednich filmów. Powitajmy Nira.
Dzień dobry.
Dlaczego spotykamy się tutaj razem? Ostatnio byliśmy razem w Polsce i naszła nas taka refleksja, żeby na świeżo jeszcze móc nagrać film o wrażeniach Nira z Polski i o tym, co go tam zaskoczyło, czy może nawet zszokowało. Oczywiście ta nasza wyprawa grudniowa do Polski to nie była pierwsza wyprawa Nira do naszego kraju, już byliśmy tam razem parę razy, ale dzisiaj opowiemy sobie właśnie o takich ogólnych wrażeniach i z ostatniej wizyty w Polsce i z wcześniejszych wizyt i ogólnie o tym, jak Nir poznał Polaków i co go właśnie tak jakby zadziwiło, czy co jest innego w Polakach, porównując ich na przykład do Izraelczyków. Ja już taki film nagrałam o Izraelu, także będzie link w opisie na dole. No ale chciałam też poznać perspektywę Izraelczyka i chciałam Wam ją pokazać. Zanim zaczniemy, chciałabym Wam przypomnieć, żebyście od razu już zostawili łapkę w górę pod tym filmem i zasubskrybowali mój kanał, jeżeli jeszcze tego nie robicie. Dodatkowo chciałam wspomnieć o tym, że założyłam Patronite'a, więc jeżeli ktoś z Was chciałby wspierać mój kanał, link będzie w opisie pod filmem. Bardzo Wam dziękuję. Za chwilę będziemy przeskakiwać na język angielski, ale nie bójcie się, napisy po polsku będą na ekranie, nie musicie w tym filmie nic włączać, także wszystko będzie automatyczne. Więc Nir, bardzo dziękujemy Ci za to, że jesteś w dzisiejszym filmie.
Proszę bardzo.
I zaczynamy od pierwszego pytania, które zadam Nirowi. Okej, Nir, Twoja ostatnia wycieczka do Polski przypadła na końcówkę grudnia. Jakie są Twoje wrażenia?
First, I would like to say that I want to share a few impressions that I have from Poland, but I'm not any expert to Poland and I'm not pretending to be, yeah? Just my own personal views. Last time we've been to Poland for Christmas at the end of December, and for me one thing among few things that were surprising were the extreme weather conditions, where it was few days with or few evenings with minus 15 degrees Celsius, which for me it was the first time to be in this such cold weather. In Israel, we might get to minus in Jerusalem or in other northern parts for -1 or -2, but to be in minus 15 degrees for me was a very special experience.
And how did you deal with that?
Well, I prepared myself as much as I could. It was still cold, so I put leggings, which in Israel I never use, and just wearing the big scarf and warm clothes and double socks and this kind of stuff, and it was still unbelievably cold.
Was it the first time for you to see the snow?
No, the snow I saw, but it's always nice to see this amount of snow, which is really all over, like, I don't know, 30 centimeters height of snow is something that we don't get that in Israel, no.
Widzę, że polska zima nie była dla Ciebie łatwa. A czy było coś nowego, czego spróbowałeś, jeżeli chodzi o zimowe aktywności w Polsce? Coś, czego nigdy nie miałbyś okazji spróbować w Izraelu?
Yes, it was really interesting experience to see the diving in the frozen lake.
Morsowanie.
Morsowanie. I never saw that for real, of course. I never participated in that, and I was just looking at this, and for me it was shocking to see people going to the frozen. There was a frozen lake, and they cut a square in the ice, and they went dipping there in the. I don't know. I don't know how they did that, but obviously I know that this is a sport in Poland and people do it and they like it and they have the group and the clubs for that. I would never dare to do it, but it was very interesting to watch that and to see how they really managed to stay in the water for maybe, I don't know, it was in my imagination I thought it's going to be like maybe a few seconds, maybe half a minute there, but people stay there for 7, 8, 9 minutes. And I was standing outside, frozen. I don't know how they did that, but well done for them.
And you would never try to get inside the lake?
No, I would never do that. I would never. I would be just dead.
Even for like just trying.
No way. I saw there were a group of professionals there, and I saw one lady came maybe for the first times for her, and she tried just to put the legs, and she managed to do that. But I don't think I would. I don't think I would.
Okej, więc poruszyliśmy temat minusowych temperatur, aktywności fizycznej na świeżym powietrzu w zimę, a teraz gładko przejdziemy do naszego ulubionego tematu, czyli jedzenie. Nir, czy miałeś taką sytuację, że jedzenie, które zamówiłeś w Polsce, niesamowicie Cię zaskoczyło?
Yeah, once we went to the kebab place in Warsaw, and in my imagination I was thinking that the kebab wouldn't be spicy or would be a bit without much flavor. So I was asking the guy to put additional spicy in there. And I was thinking, okay, that would do the job, yeah. So it would have some taste and some spiciness in that. And when we got home, I opened the baguette with the kebab. And on my first bite, I tasted something strange that was very spicy, and I thought, you know what, maybe it's the first bite, it's only, there, I will continue, it will be better. And it didn't, it was just explosion of spice, and I just couldn't eat that. It was too spicy. So I learned, you shouldn't ask for more spicy in Poland.
Pozdrawiamy Kebab King w Warszawie. To oni zrobili to Nirowi. Trzymając się więc tematu jedzenia, czy widziałeś coś związanego właśnie z jedzeniem, czego nie widzisz aż tak dużo w Izraelu?
Yes, what surprised me when you just walk around in the city, in Warsaw, or I bet in any other big city, there are a lot of places with nice cakes and cookies and muffins that also taste amazing and also look amazing. How the display and the variety and the freshness, and you don't have it in Israel. We don't have it. Maybe there is a place or two that you can go and buy a nice cake. That's for sure, but not in that spread of a lot of places, like small and really with nice atmosphere, and just looks good, looks really good.
And what was your favorite cake in Poland?
I don't remember the name. Przepraszam. But we need to try the wuzetka.
And we didn't try. We didn't try.
Yeah, we were looking for wuzetka, but we couldn't find. Of course there is. At the cheesecake, I love the Polish cheesecake, it's amazing.
Nir, wspomniałeś, że byliśmy w Warszawie. Czy zauważyłeś coś, co w Warszawie jest bardzo dobrze zorganizowane i czego na przykład brakuje w Tel Awiwie?
Yeah, the public transportation in Warsaw was really good, and also outside, the trains outside Warsaw, which is something in Israel we are lacking. Public transportation in Israel is not as developed in Poland, and it was really nice surprise for me to actually be able to travel quite easily with the bus, with the tram, with the train. it's a very important aspect of living in a city, and it's very much developed from my perspective. Rather, if I compare Warsaw to Tel Aviv public transportation. So that was a very nice experience.
And I remember you were surprised by the fact that the bus drivers have their own cabin that is like divided from
true.
all the bus, while in Israel it's not the case.
Yeah, in Israel there is only some kind of metal thing that not really protecting the driver, and I think it should be much safe for the driver and also for the people. In case something happened, that the driver would be pretty much protected. In Israel, you can have access to the driver, which is not very safe. So that was a good thing also, I noticed.
Szula chce być w filmie, więc być może jest taka szansa, że się tutaj usadowi. Pokaż się.
Okay.
Podczas naszych wielu wizyt w Polsce zatrzymywaliśmy się w różnych miejscach, w hotelach, w mieszkaniach, w domach. Czy było coś, co zaskoczyło Cię w tym temacie, jak wyglądają budynki w Polsce?
Something which is really different in terms of the interior of the houses. In Poland, I noticed that the basic interior is well put. So, for example, if you want to rent a flat in Poland, I believe, the flat comes with the basic furnitures, and also the iron and the iron table and washing machine and fridge and a bed and even
Kettle, everything?
kettle and cutlery even. Yeah. This would never happen in Israel. You often rent an empty flat, meaning that you sign the contract to rent a flat which is completely empty. No fridge, no bed, or not. You need to bring it yourself. And you might happen to have just a fridge or just wardrobe or just bed, and you need to bring sofas and all from your own place or to buy it yourself. And this basic standard is something which is very overwhelming for me to see that actually the standard of renting a flat in Poland is in so much that we call here high level, and it almost non-exists. I didn't see any I didn't hear even about a person renting a flat with a cutlery, even in the luxury houses that you pay here a lot of money, you would have to bring it yourself. And this was very much surprising, but this is the standard, it's different.
A czy miałeś w Polsce szansę, żeby zrobić coś, co nie jest prawnie albo praktycznie możliwe w Izraelu?
Surprisingly, I was able to shoot a gun in Poland of course on a sport club, and that was surprising for me. I didn't expect that. We went to this sport shooting place, and I was expecting to have this pistol and shoot with the pistol, and to my surprise it was possible even to shoot the big rifle, the automatic rifle, which only the army used it back then, but not in a sport club. In Israel, if you go to any of these kind of shooting places, they give you to the pistol to shoot, and it's not possible even to find a place that you can use the real rifle. And that was surprising for me, and it was also nice just to experience that as a sport, of course.
And it wasn't that expensive, as far as I remember.
That's true, and this is across all the services in Poland. Comparing to Israel, it's much cheaper.
A co z ludźmi? Czy jest w zachowaniu Polaków coś takiego, co Cię zaskakuje?
This is a big, let's say, gap or difference in the culture. That for me as Israeli to notice that Um, Polish people have predefined, I would say, manners or predefined rules of behavior. I was surprised to see that when you shake the hand of the other person, if it's in the winter, you should remove your gloves. That for sure all of you would say, for sure, it's obvious, it's basic. But we don't have it in Israel. We don't have this custom. We don't have gloves. But even if we put once in a year the gloves, we don't have this manner or this gesture to remove the glove before shaking the hand. Or to if you meet somebody, one of your colleagues or friends, and you want to do the greetings and to say hello, you should stand up if you're sitting, and you should stand up and say hello and shake the hand. In Israel, it's pretty common just to say hello. We don't have to stand up. How the service people are dressed, and you have the dress code. And not only, I believe, the dress code for. If you even go to work in the office, you should wear, for a man, you have to wear a suit and tie. Is it true?
Well, it depends. Like high techs are less strict now, but I think like old corporates, banks, and so on, like it would require the business attire. Yeah.
Exactly. And here in Israel, if you go to ministry of whatever, the people there that working for the government, all people working for the bank, they just wear a t-shirt or something very basic, not something official. The weird thing is that here only the security people in Israel, they wear suits. The businessmen and all the others just don't.
A czy jest w polskiej kulturze i w polskich obyczajach coś, co zauważyłeś i co cię trochę dziwi, ale bardzo rzuca się w oczy?
Yeah, okay. This is for sure very popular in Poland, but in Israel it's not, and this is what attracted my mind. That the alcohol culture, this is how I call it, in Poland it's very much spread. So, okay, it's well known that in Eastern Europe or maybe other parts of Europe it's pretty much popular, but for me to see that and to see how it looks, it's really overwhelming to see the amount of vodka and other alcohol that is used on a daily basis. This is something that I'm not used to, and I know that this is the difference, but this is something that for me was special.
Yeah, in Israel, people I think are more likely to smoke weed than to drink vodka on this level.
Yeah, and the popularity of smoking weed in Israel is really, really high, especially in Tel Aviv, and it's much less than drinking alcohol.
Patrząc na Polaków jako taki ogół, na ludzi, patrząc na kraj całościowo jako teren, czy jest jeszcze coś, co rzuciło ci się w oczy?
Sorry for that. When I was walking just in the streets of Warsaw, any other city or town, doesn't matter, I've noticed that the Polish, let's say, the population is very much homogenic, relatively, of course, meaning that most of the people look, of course, they don't look the same, but there is something pretty much in common. For example, the vast majority is white skin and bright or blonde or this color of hair and blue eyes, and the variety is not, of course people look different, but there is something pretty much in common. So this is in Israel not exist. The variety in Israel is sorry, Shula is all over. And in Israel, the variety of, when you go just on the street, you see much more variety. So you see more black people, Afro-Americans, People came from different countries to the place that now is Israel, so they look different. And in Poland, from what I know, there isn't any big wave, or there wasn't any big wave of immigration, massive wave of immigration. So people look not the same, not identical, but there is pretty much something in common. So this attracted my eyes. And there is another thing related, if you look at Poland on the wide angle, is the comparison of the size of Poland to the size of Israel, and the number of population of Poland and the number in Israel. There is something very interesting, that Poland is 14 times bigger in the size than Israel, but the population is only 4 times bigger, which makes Poland much more spacious, I would say. And this is something that you can feel it as an Israeli, that especially if you live in the big city like Tel Aviv, it's all very crowded and not many open spaces and stuff. And in Poland, it's really like endless for me. For me, it's like endless amount of land and relatively less people in this huge amount of land. So this is something that it's pretty much noticeable.
Okay, and just to sum up, do you enjoy visiting Poland? What are your favorite things, and what are the things you don't like when you are visiting there?
Poland is so big that I would love to see different parts of Poland. Of course, the northern part with the sea, and the southern part with the mountains. So I'm looking forward to explore these new areas, and much more, I'm sure. It's endless for me. So there's a lot to see there. I wish I could speak Polish. It would make stuff much more easier. I don't have any specific thing that I don't like. No, it's just different place with so many different things to explore than Israel, Europe, then the Middle East, the climate, the terrain, the culture. So in overall, for me, just a lot to explore more, and to observe and to learn.
I know what you don't like. You don't like the weather during the winter when it's minus.
No.
And you don't like shopping malls, especially złote tarasy.
Don't be offended. I don't like shopping malls anywhere in the world.
Okej, to chyba wszystkie rzeczy z tych, które zaskoczyły Nira w Polsce podczas tych wszystkich wizyt, które robimy od 5-6 lat. Bardzo bym chciała podziękować Nirowi za to, że się z nami podzielił swoimi wrażeniami.
Thanks for watching. Hope you find it interesting, and if you like, just hit the like button and subscribe.
Tak jak Nir powiedział, jeszcze raz poproszę Was o polajkowanie tego wideo, o zasubskrybowanie mojego kanału klikając w dzwoneczek. Możecie mnie też odwiedzić na moich innych social mediach, linki będą w opisie na dole oczywiście. Oraz jeszcze raz przypominam Wam o tym, że mój kanał ma założony Patronite. Jeżeli będziecie chcieli wesprzeć ten kanał w dalszym rozwoju, link będzie w opisie na dole, będziecie sobie mogli przeczytać, z czym to się je i jak mnie i ten kanał, i Nira też, i Szulę przede wszystkim, można wesprzeć na Patronite. I oczywiście, jeżeli podoba Wam się Szula, który jest najpiękniejszym kotem na świecie, to zdecydowanie udostępnijcie ten film na swoich social mediach. Dziękuję Wam serdecznie za uwagę i do zobaczenia w kolejnym filmie. Pa!